The next morning, for the first time ever, when Ben woke up early he wasn't cold and damp. For a few short seconds he thought he'd actually remained dry all night, but then slowly he remembered where he was, and what he was wearing. And sure enough, when he reached down between his legs the nappy was warm and swollen, but at least his boxers, and the bed, were dry. Ben reached for his phone, and was shocked to see the time was 7:28 a.m. He never usually slept this late, he was usually awake by 6 o'clock. He couldn't lie in when he was lying in a wet bed. But now his bed was dry, if he wanted to he could even roll over and go back to sleep, a luxury he'd never had before. Usually on waking up he would immediately jump out of bed and into the shower, and unless it was still the middle night, as it would be on the odd nights he wet twice, that would be him up for the day. Ben considered going back to sleep, but he thought being up this early would give him a good opportunity to get to the bathroom in his nappy without anyone noticing the bulge, which he expected would be even larger now the nappy was wet. He sat up in bed to make sure the other boys were still asleep, a couple of them were snoring, and they all seemed dead to the world. Ben slid out of bed slowly, so as not to wake any of them, and grabbed a towel and some clothes from his rucksack. He tiptoed to the bathroom, where he peeled off his nappy. He realized he now had the dilemma of what to do with it. There was a small bin in the bathroom, one with a lid on it, and so Ben threw the nappy into it. No one would be looking in the bins, and even if they did they wouldn't know it was his. At 8:30 Mr. Allen and Mrs. Reed, a maths teacher, came around the six formers' bedrooms, announcing it was time for them to get up. "Come on, we've got a busy day ahead of us," they both announced. "Breakfast is at 9. Ben, who had already been up for almost an hour, made his way downstairs to the large kitchen and dining area. He was glad to see a few of his friends down there already, he obviously wasn't the only early riser. Ben helped himself to cereal, and joined them at the table. Ben watched as Laura, and her friend Amanda, came into the room. Laura looked especially hot today, he thought, in a short denim skirt and lemon yellow tank top, which complemented her long blonde hair and dark brown eyes perfectly. She looked over at him, and smiled. Once Laura and Amanda had chosen their breakfast, grapefruit for both of them, Ben was overjoyed when they came to sit with him. Maybe this trip wasn't so bad after all, it had gotten off to a bad start, but as they said, things could only get better. "Hey Ben, how you doing?" Laura asked. "Sleep well?" "Why yeah, great thanks. How about you?" Ben stuttered nervously. He couldn't believe she was talking to her. He really hoped he didn't make a tit out of himself now, dribble milk down his chin or anything. "Yeah, good. Not really looking forward to today though, the National History Museum. Sounds like it's gonna be dead boring." "Heh, yeah," Ben agreed, not wanting to admit that he actually quite enjoyed history, "but at least we'll get to go shopping afterwards." Ben had no interest in shopping, but he guessed that Laura did. "Yeah. At least that's one good thing," Laura agreed, before turning to Amanda and telling her about the shops they absolutely had to check out.